You know, you have Italian ancestry.
Hmm.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, my grandfather was born in Italy, and he married a woman from the United States and moved to the United States. But I still have lots of family in Rome and Venice and other places of Italy, mainly in Rome. But actually, last year, my parents, my sister, and I, we all got we got dual American-Italian citizenship. So we are now officially Italian citizens, which is kind of cool. And it's been fun on this tour to be able to travel around the EU with an EU passport. Makes things a lot easier. And we definitely have plans to keep coming back and visiting and spending a lot more time here in this country. The only thing I haven't done yet, which I really need to do now that I'm a citizen of Italy, is I need to learn Italian. I just haven't had time to do it. It was either learn Italian or finish Inheritance, and you can guess which one won out.
How has your life changed ever since you became a famous writer?
Well, what started as my hobby is now my career, so that was definitely a change in terms of my everyday activities and just my working habits. The biggest difference, I think, is that every now and then my publisher sort of kicks me out the front door and I get to travel all around the world and give talks in front of thousands of people. And that's definitely a big change. But I try not to take it too seriously because that's not how my life is at home. And I am just incredibly grateful that so many people have enjoyed reading the series, that I get to do what I love to do, which is telling stories.
Some of the interviews you gave make it pretty clear to people that you at some point will get back to Allegasia. Do you think you're more interested in exploring Allegasia with a prequel or a sequel or with whatever else?
It would definitely be a sequel. Book 5, as I have been calling it, would be a sequel, although not a direct sequel. It wouldn't be directly continuing the story from the Inheritance cycle. It would be doing something new in the world of Allegasia. We would see many of the same characters we've seen before, but we would also meet many new characters as well. However, as I've also said a number of times, I don't plan on returning to the world and writing Book 5 immediately. After spending 14-some years on the series, I need a break.
Whatever you're going to be writing now is like a new cycle, such as Terry Brooks' new cycle?
No, I wouldn't say that. It wouldn't be the beginning of another 3-book series or something. It would be more of a standalone book. I don't quite have the energy in me to tackle another series that's going to take me a decade or more. It would completely tie into the first cycle. It's part of the same world and all that, but it wouldn't really be the beginning of a new series.
The movie that was made out of Eragon has not been as successful as everybody hoped it would be. Do you think that there might be a sequel or a remake of that movie? And would you be willing to participate in the making of the movie, maybe somehow being more responsible for how the movie gets done?
I certainly hope that more films are made out of the books. I think that they would make very good movies, however, and very different movies than, say, Lord of the Rings or Narnia or Harry Potter. However, it's really up to the studio at the moment as to whether or not any more movies are made, and hopefully they will move forward with that. The first movie, although it wasn't as successful as we might have hoped, actually did make quite a bit of money for the studio. So there is a hope, always a hope, that they will seek to restart it at some point. At this point, given the amount of time that's passed, I think that all of the actors would have to be recast, including, of course, Eragon, which to me leads me to believe that the best thing to do would be to remake the first film and then proceed with the others. I'm not sure starting with the second book would work if you're recasting all the actors. But there are various options for what could or couldn't be done. Ultimately, I would love to be involved in any sort of film version of the Inheritance cycle. I would be as involved as a studio is willing to let me be. I'm not sure I'd have the courage to try directing it myself, but up to that point at least, I would be happy to do everything I could to make it as good as possible.
We know you've already started working on a science fiction novel. How far on is the project? I mean, how have you written some of it. And could you just give us a brief idea, if not of the story you're going to be telling, is at least of some of the references we might find similar to some extent to what you're writing?
Well, first of all, I've not started a science fiction novel. What I believe you're alluding to is I started a short story when I was on tour in the United States for Inheritance. However, I've not really had any time to work on it since the tour, and now, of course, I'm on my international tour outside of North America, which is rather all-consuming in terms of the amount of energy it requires. However, as soon as I'm home, I'm going to finish up that short story, which is actually a bit of a prelude for the next novel I hope to write. I don't really want to say anything more than that in terms of what the book or the short story is going to be about, since I think that would spoil things for readers. I will say, though, that I think that if readers enjoyed the inheritance cycle, they will very much enjoy these stories as well. You know, the settings may be changing and stuff, but I'm still writing about the same things that interest me, the same things that I've always written about. And if you like those things as well, then I think that this will be something you'll enjoy as well. That said, I don't think that the next book is going to take anywhere near as long to write as, say, Inheritance did. For one, I don't think it's going to be as long, and two, over the course of writing Inheritance, I sorted out some things both professionally and personally, and as a result, my writing speed increased by a factor of 10. So hopefully readers will be seeing books from me on a more regular basis.
Some of the readers claimed that some parts of Inheritance, the last chapter of the saga, were written quickly, maybe too quickly, and that you did not give out as much as you'd promised the readers to expose and to give to them. Is that because this way you're keeping the readers on edge so that they can read whatever you're going to add to the story in the next chapters to come?
No, I mean, I told the story I was hoping to tell. I think there are two things going on. One, the style of the writing does change in the last few chapters of Inheritance, and that's partly because I had to summarize quite a large amount of time compared with how I had told the story previously. Previously, whatever Eragon or any of the other point of view characters did, I narrated it very much moment by moment. And that's part of why readers felt so attached to the characters and inside their experience and their lives. Unfortunately, that doesn't work when you're trying to cover months, when you're trying to summarize months and show readers a little bit of what happens in the aftermath of the main events of the last book. So the writing style does change a little bit on purpose, and I think it serves the story well, but it is a little bit different and takes some getting used to, I think. As far as the larger question goes, the thing is I've had readers come up to me during signings and complain that the ending of the book is far, far, far too long, and that after the big last battle of the book, that the book just drags on far, far too long. I've also had readers come up to me and complain that the ending of the book is far, far, far too short. So the thing is you can't really please everyone. You can only try to please yourself, and I wrote the ending that I thought the book and the series needed and deserved. And I hope the readers feel the same way, at least most of them. I did deliberately weave into the series some questions that I did not intend to answer in the fourth book or in any of the books, because those are the foundation for future stories, not just book 5, but other stories as well. And I did that because I think that in the long run, it will make the world a much more cohesive place. I would also add on that with all the various reactions to the end of the book, what I've noticed is that the people who've liked the ending, and even the few who haven't, in either case, people feel very strongly about it. It's been a very emotional reaction in both cases. And as an author, I consider that a success, that what I wrote was able to affect people so much. I would also add that readers by now should realize that I play a very long game. And, you know, I wove things into the very first book, which I revealed in the very last book, even including the very last scene and images, which Eragon dreamed of in the very first book. And there are things in the inheritance cycle which have yet to be revealed or which have been hinted at but not fully explained. And those are, as I said, the foundation for future stories. Part of it is that everyone, myself included, has been thinking of the end of the inheritance cycle as the end of this world, if you will. And that's not the case. You know, for example, Eragon and Arya are both going to live for many hundreds, if not thousands of years. And they're both quite young when you take that view. So we're really only at the beginning of their journey, if you will, and the journey of many of the other characters.
What is the thing you're more proud of the things you've written? What was the thing that gave you the hardest time writing? Second question. The third question is, if you could change something you've written, what would it be?
If I could change anything I've written, it would be, I wouldn't change the story, but I would certainly go back and smooth out a lot of the prose in Eragon and even Eldest, and Brissinger, because I've learned a lot about writing since I began the series, and I think there are some things I did in the first few books which are a little bit awkward and that I could do a better job of now. As far as what I'm most proud of, I would say it's probably the last book. There are a lot of scenes in the last book that I'm extremely proud of. I think of the scene where Eragon heals the baby near the beginning of the book, or the scene where he's flying with Saphira and they see the curve of the earth, or even the scenes with Nasawada and Murtagh. I thought those were some of the best I've written. So there are a lot of things I'm proud of in the last book. And I'm sure I'll feel this way about my next book. You know, every author likes to think that they're improving book to book. So, you know, ask me what my favorite book is and my answer will usually be, you know, the last book.
How would you describe your relationship with the characters? Are they friends, brothers, or what are they?
I hope I never ever meet my characters because they'd probably want to do horrible things to me for all the horrible things I've done to them. That said, I'm very fond of all of them, even the evil ones. But I think the one character I would really want as a friend would probably be the dwarf Auric. He just seems like he knows how to have a good time, and he's a good person as well. And lastly, I would just want to say thank you to everyone for reading the Inheritance Cycle, and I hope they enjoyed the ending and found it both satisfying and surprising, and I hope they enjoy my future books even more. And as Eragon would say, Sionur Severadar Setya Havas. May your swords stay sharp.